Girl, you're gonna love me for this one. So I'm going to explain to you the whipping skill, which is a technique that you can use in the bedroom for stronger O's, both for you and your partner. Now, this comes from the art of Pompoir, aka V Gymnastics, which, as you can see from this chart right here, is the practice of mastering your pelvic floor muscles to create crazy skills such as milking, locking, whipping, twisting, ringing, massaging, crazy stuff. Now, some of these are really hard to master, really complex, and they require weeks to months of training. But whipping is beginner enough that you can learn it pretty quickly, but it's also super pleasurable. Now, the first thing that I need you to understand is that the vaginal canal has 3 axes of motion. All the muscles that surround it run in different directions. Therefore, the movements that you can do happen in different directions. It's much more than just kegling up and down. So you've got the vertical axis. This is where your kegel or your different types of contractions happen. And you should train much more than just a kegel, by the way, but I have other videos on that. You have the horizontal axis, aka your lateral walls, and you have the sagittal axis, aka your anterior and posterior walls. Now, whipping is what we call a multiplanar skill because it happens across 2 different axes of motion. It happens across the vertical axis and the horizontal axis. So the first thing you need is to master your vertical axis. You need to be doing your different types of kegels, your concentric contraction, your eccentric contraction, your isometric contraction. Once you have that, you have enough strength in your pelvic floor to move to squeezing. Now, you need to understand that squeezing is not the same as contracting or kegling. A contraction or a kegel is a lift of your pelvic floor muscles, is a shortening of the vaginal canal, whereas a squeeze is a press of your lateral or sagittal walls. You're pressing and you're narrowing the vaginal canal. You need to first be able to understand this difference. I dedicate a whole chapter of the book to this, but basically a squeeze is kind of like a flex of your muscles, like an isometric contraction of the sort, but it's almost like you're pulsing. Instead of contracting up, as if you were, imagine your bicep, you're contracting, lifting up, versus you're flexing your bicep. So what you're doing here is you're flexing your pelvic floor muscles and you continue with that motion. You flex, and then you release. And you should feel your walls coming back into place. That's the difference. When you're kegling, you lift up and then you should feel the muscles going back down. Now, this is where things get crazy because we're putting everything together. To do the whipping motion, what I want you to do is squeeze, but only squeeze at the entrance of the vaginal canal, and then squeeze, but only at the middle, and then squeeze, but only at the top. And you need to be able to differentiate between these vertical levels. I have a tutorial on the milking technique, which allows you to identify these entrance, middle, top levels. Now, back to whipping, what you want to do is do these squeezing motions swiftly. So you press the entrance, the middle, the top, entrance, middle, top, entrance, middle, top. And the crazy thing about this exercise is that you'll notice that as you perform it, you become really hot and really aroused. And this is because you're becoming more effective at drawing in blood to that region. That's why whipping is fantastic just for solo pleasure. But if you want to try it with a partner, I definitely recommend doing it in the spooning and the girl on top positions. Follow us for more tips and get the Pompoir book in the first link in our bio.